Weekend observations. What happened there?
Computer's buffering.
Oh, no.
No, the sound isn't going off. All right, let's get it on the other computer. What's weird is that this sound's going
Thank
off.
you, Jess.
Yeah,
Jessica,
Jess.
you don't want to
Give me
sign
cover.
up for that during. You
No.
want to sign up for that through food? You
Let's
don't think?
do it, Jess.
All right,
Weird.
That's
Hang on.
a big, that's
Hang
a
on, let me
big
stop-
ask.
let me
Try
stop
it
the
again.
imaging.
Try it again.
Why? Wow, we can't have simultaneous sounds now?
We'll try it again.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories.
This is going to exhaust her.
Available for delivery. Dan. Thank you. Whether it was a pitcher flirting with a no-hitter or a hitter attempting to get his 3,000th hit, they became fairly routine back in our day until Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and Barry Bonds came along, confused everyone, divided a nation, and rendered all baseball records meaningless. But with a historic season by a cyborg in New York that we somehow have no steroid questions about, who is chasing a record that no one really cares about, Dan, make no mistake about it. Live baseball break-ins
Really?
are back.
Really?
I hated it, Stugotz. The Wake Forest Clemson game,
Right.
2 scoring plays.
Yeah.
I was listening to Michael Kay call Aaron Judge's at-bats on the Yes Network. The first one, he struck out looking while Sam Hartman threw an amazing touchdown pass into
Yep.
the end zone for a score for Wake Forest. The second time, he got walked to first while Clemson, DJ Uyunglele, 2-point conversion to tie the game late in the game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I loved them growing up, didn't you?
Thank you for bringing them back.
I mean, Boggs and Gwynn going for 400. Remember those times?
Mike, what's going on with your you don't know what's going on with systems?
I think I can cover myself with white guys just with baseball talk, so I think I'm good.
Kent State should be ranked just for keeping it close against Georgia.
I agree. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Should Kent State be ranked? Samford, too, for keeping it within 33 points against Georgia.
The Golden Flashes. Dan, you know what the K in Kent State stands for?
I do not.
Keeping it close. Wake Forest did what Wake Forest does. The Deeks.
What does that mean? They
lose that game every year.
It was a shootout, though. It was
a great game, but beat Clemson. I mean, once in a while, just beat Clemson.
And that's why it was so devastating to watch the stupid baseball cut-in during it. Because if I were a Wake Forest fan, of which there are several, I would be so mad to missing the end of that game, breaking all those win streaks that Clemson has on them.
You're
and then
against the
fell
baseball
through
cut-in?
their fingertips. I absolutely despise it. And I saw some Miami fan of all people tweeting at me, are people really upset about a cut-in during a noon ACC game? Yeah, it's 2 ranked teams. And if you're watching the noon ACC game, you probably want to actually watch the noon ACC game.
It's just amazing to hear. Stugotz and I fell in love with a time in sport.
I loved them.
A time in time when baseball mattered enough to cut into whatever was happening in sports with a live look-in from ESPN. And now Jessica's out here saying, please don't get in the way of Wake's second quarter football.
I need to watch my Clemson Tigers.
It was a shootout. Sam Hartman, you were so close. 6 touchdowns is good. 7 puts you in the Heisman conversation. Maybe next year. And with you, we know there's always going to be a next year.
McAfee was so close on that. People are getting mad by McAfee on that show. They want some Pollock. He's got the chain, and McAfee is a little too shocking for what they do on College Game Day. And McAfee told you that he was going to enter the Heisman conversation. He was a touchdown from entering it.
Does he have one outfit?
Yes.
I've been trying to figure it out.
Well, different colors, I think.
No, I
Same
don't
colors.
even think so. I think
Really?
it's just one blue jacket, a tank top, a black tank top underneath, sometimes a white tank top. and sneakers and jeans. Like that's it every week, isn't it?
You could tell he's like hesitant to get involved. Like he doesn't know when to speak. He feels like people don't like
I don't
him on the
see
set.
that at all.
I see it.
I don't see it. No, he's
do.
the everyman, and he's there, and he's something very different from what they've had. And when people are chanting for Pollock, it's because they want something very different than the chain and the outfit.
Dan, it's the chain. You nailed it. Nobody else there wears a chain.
But again, McAfee, too edgy for college game day. They want their Pollock. Again, I will say that again.
I think the crowd loves him. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there's been, just go ahead. Go look.
There's been some blowback.
Go look. It's not, I thought it was going to be 100% applause, and maybe there is no such thing for that. He has brought indisputable energy to that show that it does. I mean, he's more energetic than the people doing that show. He just is.
I would give anything to have a single ounce of Josh Allen's swagger. Sam Hartman looks like Ryan Day's son. He also looks old enough to have a son of his own. Kansas can score with anyone, I think. The
Again,
Jayhawks.
2 weeks old there as well.
They're 3-0. I mean,
They made the Houston receivers physically fight on the sidelines. Kansas football. There was a physical fight. Some dude didn't have his helmet on. Houston receivers fighting on the sidelines.
Dan, you know what the K in Kansas stands for?
No.
Can score with anyone, I think. Speaking of Kansas City Chiefs, schism. See that? Mahomes. Oh, he is not happy.
Wasn't it just a discussion about what to do with the clock at the end of the
The
half?
way you saw it.
It starts there.
Yeah. It's where all schisms start. Wait a second. Half the guys I saw on the field in Miami yesterday have to play again in 3 days. Quick turnaround.
Are we going to factor any of that in?
No.
No? Like, I'm guessing the Bills aren't going to be right for about 5 weeks. I'm guessing just the mass heat stroke. Are we not going to analyze that part of it?
Big one in Baltimore this weekend.
Jeez, Lamar Jackson around after that.
Stephen F. Austin can score with anyone, I think. The Lumberjacks. Sam Hartman. I already said that. Imagine how bad the Miami Hurricanes would be if they didn't have the assistant coach of the year, Acoy. The Canes should have played Middle Tennessee State on the road. Tyler Van Dyke. Hope you send that Herbie back. Van Dyke won the Herbie for player most likely to step up this season. Should have been the player most likely to sit down. Appalachian State. Live by the sword, die by the sword. What that means.
Stugotz, I heard him booking God Bless Football, and he's just getting people who have ever been associated with Middle Tennessee State.
I am.
He's going to
We're
become
going to celebrate them. Yes. All 3 wide receivers who average more than 30 yards per catch.
I thought they all averaged 80 yards a catch.
There is a pretty solid seeds of a curse with a God Bless Football. Anytime you try to give any of these programs their flowers, they end up falling on their face the next week.
Frank Reich just won his first game. He was on a year ago. He hadn't won since, and he just won his first game. The curse is over. Right, Bill? I think.
We're no one to talk about curses, given that our one of our NIL athletes, when placed in a game situation after being an NIL athlete, immediately got benched.
What the Dolphins and Bills did yesterday should be illegal in all 50 states. Mario Cristobal blew off his weekly radio show appearance with Joe Rose. 2 things. The C in Cristobal stands for coward.
No.
And no one blows off Big Dog on a Monday. No one.
Stugotz was listening on the way in today.
That was great.
Except the University of Miami head football coach on a weekend that they lose a big one, which has happened quite a bit lately.
Because he's a coward.
These are the receiving stats for Middle Tennessee from Saturday. DJ England Chisholm, 2 receptions, 169 yards. Jalen Lane, 4 receptions, 130 yards. Elijah Metcalf, 1 reception, 69 yards. Those were their top 3 receivers.
I did listen to Doggy on the way in.
I wouldn't call in either if that had just happened to me. If I was going press coverage on the 1 yard line and I got beat for 99 yards, I would not call in either.
You got to face the music, Dan, win or lose. I mean, let's be honest. Joe's going to ask you the same questions regardless. I mean, who cares?
Give me the highlights of. So he's too crazy.
The Doggy after a Dolphin victory, there is nothing like it. He comes up. I haven't listened to Joe Rose in probably 3 years, but I go in this morning. The show's exactly the same. Zach Krantz is doing it with him. Joe is 5 minutes late to break, which means he's got another 5 minutes before he actually breaks. He gives you a couple of Dolphin takes, 2 best games back-to-back he's ever seen in all the time he's been covering the Dolphins, and then goes into a live male testosterone spot. I mean, that is morning radio. Where was I? Stephen F. Austin, the super rare 98 burger with a side of unimpressed. Georgia and Kent State, the rare game where the team that lost by 17 was more impressive than the team that won by 17. With a big win over the Raiders yesterday, Dan, to get themselves to 1-2 for the first time this season, and certainly not the last. Dan, the Tennessee Titans are in the mix. Oh, man.
They are?
They bounced back. Yes.
Well, what?
Yeah. They won.
1-2.
Yeah. Derrick Henry got it going again. Tannehill was Tannehill again. What does that mean?
It means the Raiders aren't for real.
Spoiler, Dan. So my top 5. Jeez.
Oh, really?
We're going to get to that top 5 in a second. We got funniest thing from the sports weekend to get to as well.
Death, taxes, and that Oklahoma loss. If Tua wants to win the NFL MVP, he should send the voters a tape of what the offense looked like when being led by Teddy Bridgewater.
If
you didn't think Tua was good then.
It really was interesting. Like, I feel like that game worked out for Tua in a lot of different ways. Shouldn't have been playing because he got concussed. One, with the great throw to Waddle, he made just an unbelievable throw. And also, we're good on Bridgewater for about 8 weeks. We've seen what we need to see there. That's about enough of that.
I guess the concussion test in the Dolphins locker room wasn't working yesterday. Both the Dolphins and the Bills deserve a month-long retreat where no one can touch them. It's serious. The Dolphins have to play football again in 2 days. It's absurd. I can't wait for that game.
Stugotz, I saw you in the parking lot of the Dolphin facility, wheeze and waddle your way into the front door air conditioning. I came on here and said, Stugotz, they cannot play football. Human beings cannot play football in that weather. You were sweating on 12 steps. You took 12 steps and needed an oxygen mask. It's an unpleasant heat. I'm taking 4 showers a day.
Are you really?
I'm trying to save water.
That.
I'm dead. It's awful out. You cannot go out. You go out swamping. My dog is an air conditioning dog. Just realized it. My dog says, don't want to be out there. In, out. Get me out of that.
You know who was in but wanted to come back out? Tua. That's what a leader does. This guy, he's a warrior.
Not what Justin Herbert did. You got to win the game. You got to make that throw several times.
Congratulations to the Carolina Panthers and Indianapolis Colts for getting off the schneid. Congratulations to the Ravens for bouncing back. Lamar Jackson's right. He's not worth $250 million. He's worth at least double that. He's the best player in the NFL. He's tied for 4th in rushing.
He's pretty good, two guys. He won the MVP of the league.
Bleep,
yeah.
Man. The Chicago Bears are the worst 2-1 team of all time.
They're so bad.
Good,
They beat the 49ers in a monsoon
and
the Texans in a game-winning field goal, which I expected them to miss, by the way.
Dan, Tua is a different kind of leader. He's a cute, adorable killer who kills people with kindness. What a moment yesterday after the game with Josh Allen. I mean, right after he has you right where he wants you. He beats you on the field, and then he consoles you after the game and says, it's okay that I beat you, Josh. I mean, that's so adorable.
Well, he was just holding up the waterlogged corpse
Oh, he
of
couldn't
Josh
stand anymore?
Allen, who couldn't stand up anymore and needed to physically be held up from throwing 60 times in that swamp.
How do you not love Tua, though, honestly?
He's very lovable.
But, Dan, he's given you something you've craved for and wanted for so long. Excitement down here. Like, there's excitement and optimism with this organization. That's crazy. Tua!
Yes.
Probably has something to do with Hill and Waddle,
it
too.
didn't have a lot to do with why they won yesterday. He did make a huge throw, but I'm pretty sure that what happened yesterday is Buffalo got really, really tired of Miami's really, really good defense.
You know what he did, Tua? He came back out. Imagine how that game ends if Tua never comes back out. You saw Teddy for 5 plays. Just imagine how that game ends.
I would ask you, as you analyze Lamar Jackson, Stugotz, to also analyze what Josh Allen could not do against that Dolphin defense. I want you to analyze what Lamar Jackson did do against that Dolphin defense.
Best player in the NFL.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
Mike has more rushing yards in this segment than Van Dyke did on Saturday, let me tell you.
Rather than give everyone on the team game balls, Mike McDaniel should have given them game IVs. Joe Flacco, after a win, looks exactly like Joe Flacco after a loss.
Yeah.
Joe Cool. $1.5 million and a free trip to South Beach to beat the holy hell out of the University of Miami. Middle Tennessee. Money well spent. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
And $40,000 in travel costs. Don't forget that as well.